Welcome to the Tackling Tech podcast, powered by Dyknow. Join us as we tackle all things ed tech with insightful interviews, actionable tips, and strategies that you can implement in your school or district to make technology integration more effective. Whether you're a teacher, a tech coach, or a technology administrator, we're giving you an advantage in your role by sharing stories from people who are passionate about working with their peers and enhancing the learning experience with technology. Thanks for spending some time with us today. Now let's tackle some tech.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tackling Tech, a podcast that shares stories about how you can build better collaboration in K-12 schools, and a show that is dedicated to putting a voice to remote learning. I'm your host, Brett McGrath, Vice President of Marketing at Dyknow, and I am learning a ton. That's a great way to kick it off. It's a great way to start the week here. I have been in a digital conference, and I'm learning from a lot of educators just like you. So many themes, so many topics, a lot of the stuff that we talk about here on Tackling Tech. So it's good that we've recorded a ton of episodes, and it's in line with what the conversation is in K-12. One thing that stuck out to me as I have been sitting in these sessions and learning is this thought about what's next. And it's, we spend all of this time, money, energy, and resources to go one-to-one or enhance our current one-to-one program during this time of remote learning. And now it's, how can we take this to the next level? That is something that I am continuing to hear, and it is just a theme, and it's very interesting to me in thinking about educators not settling for the status quo, but really wanting to continue to push their programs at their schools and districts. And I think that's exciting. It presents so many opportunities. I think about just Dyknow and the opportunity it presents for us as a business as we sit kind of in that, now that you have a one-to-one program, what's next category, we fit right in there. So I'm excited about that and engaging with all of you on ideas and thoughts you have to take your one-to-one program to the next level. I think that's super exciting. So I love sitting and listening and hearing educators talk about the problems that they're having and the solutions that they have to those problems. And there's been a ton of that for me. So I'm super excited about that. As this episode is launched, it is a election day in the United States. So that is something that is certainly top of mind for everyone. I think I voted early. I went out and voted a couple weeks ago, and there was a 2-hour wait. So a lot of demand on voting, which is a good thing. I think atypical year, definitely, but it's good to see that people are going out and exercising the right to vote. So hopefully you're all getting out to the polls and doing so safely. One thing that I think continues to come up for us and the Dyknow team in our conversations is just the importance of student engagement during this time and how educators are finding opportunities to engage with students, whether they're in a physical classroom, a remote setting, or a hybrid model. And I think that's something that's top of mind for us. And we will continue to focus on student engagement through our content. So that is something to look out for. We're in the middle of planning our next event that we should be announcing soon, and it just might have something to do with student engagement. So be on the lookout for that. I'll definitely plug in on here. Speaking of plugs, make sure you check out our Instagram account at Dyknow_K12. There is going to be a focus on putting a lot of our content and engaging with our audience on Instagram. So make sure you check us out there. Obviously, check us out at Dyknow on Twitter, at Tackling Tech Pod. Those are good places. Hit that follow button. If you like what you're hearing on this show, definitely subscribe. Leave us a review. We do appreciate that. I am excited to get into this conversation today. So this is the first international conversation we've had on the pod. So excited about that. Misha Feigenson, someone that I've connected with, and I'm really excited about what he is doing with his company, definitely focusing in on a unique space, a space where I think we're moving in terms of just technology in general. And it's interesting to hear technology focused in K-12 that has some thoughts and ideas around this innovation, and that is with voice. So I am excited to bring Misha on the show to talk about what he is doing with voice learning and how he has implemented that in some of the classrooms across the United States. This has been really, really fun. I think it fits alongside our theme of progressive learning and innovation. And so I think this will give you all an opportunity about some ways that you can engage with students in your classroom if you're a teacher, or if you're an admin, some creative ways you can implement maybe some new programs across your school or district. So hopefully you enjoy this one. Hopefully this conversation gets you to think. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. All right, everyone. I am really excited about this conversation. It is with Misha Feigenson, and this is a first on Tackling Tech. So this is the first conversation that I am recording with someone outside of the United States currently. So Misha, welcome to Tackling Tech. Why don't you tell everyone where you currently live?
Thank you, Brad. Thank you for having me on this show. Really love this show. I'm talking from Jerusalem, Israel, and we are currently in lockdown for 3 weeks. So currently we're recording at 11 p.m. here. My kids finally went to sleep, so I have time to talk.
Yeah, it was funny when we got to know each other the last time. I didn't realize Misha was outside of the country, and his son was up, and I said, "What time is it?" And he was like 11 p.m. So making some adjustments to talk on Tackling Tech. So definitely appreciate it. Maybe we can start and just talk about, I know you have we're going to talk about just some of the technology trends, and a lot of it's going to have to do with voice that you're working on, but maybe let's set the stage and just give the audience some perspective about your career and education.
Yeah, so I'm a physicist by education. During my graduate studies, I taught a lot, but around 7 years ago, I actually left physics. The company I worked in got closed, and I was at home looking for a job, and at the same time, I just got married. We just got married, and my wife was pregnant with our first son. And I was trying to, and I always like to do my own thing. So I was playing with, and we just got iPhone, and I was playing with it, trying to do things. Then our first son was born, and he was a very bad sleeper. And I was, and just around the same time, we learned about the power of white noise. We saw this DVD by Dr. Harvey Cart, who talks about power of soothing and shushing, how you make this monotonic noise. And so I did this baby sleep app. We called it Sound Sleeper, and it became to help young parents like ourselves and to help babies sleep better. So it became very popular. By now it has more than 5 million downloads. So I never went back to physics, and I started this app development company to help parents like ourselves. But when our kids got better, and actually when our son, who inspired our first company, became 7, he started first grade, and he was struggling with math. And I was wondering how I can use technology to help him learn math. And around the same time, Alexa got home. We got Alexa, and I was watching my kids interacting with this device. And I was fascinated to see several things. So first of all, they could do math working with Alexa while do other things. This multitasking was quite amazing. They could play the magnet tiles, building their Lego contraptions, and at the same time working on their math. And that's very interesting because it so often happens that our learning time and homework time is in competition with playtime. And it doesn't have to be this way. And then there's another observation was how they talk to this device. For them, talking to machine was like talking to a real person. So I realized if I actually build something educational, it will feel to them that they talk to a real teacher. So it opens huge opportunities, huge possibilities in education. And the third most important observation was there is no screen. Today, we know, especially now during pandemic, we know how bad screens can be for the kids. And we also know how often ineffective they can be in education. And here, when you get rid of the screens, you suddenly get them thinking, you get them imagining, you can get them reasoning. So it becomes a very powerful educational tool. I probably answered already many questions on the way, but
that's all right. You gave me a lot to think about and some thoughts to talk about. So I think you touched on it, but we're at a period of time right now with across the globe where there's more screen time than ever. Chromebooks, applications, that is what educators are relying on to convey their lesson plans, and that's only going up. What you're working on is screen-free active learning, which is innovative and it's a progressive style of learning, but obviously doesn't require the technology that everyone's used to. So I'm curious, what are you in different use cases that in teachers and classrooms that you've engaged with? How are they adopting this screen-free active learning? What are some of the things you're learning from those conversations?
Yeah, thank you, Brad. Thank you for this question. So when I actually started working on this project, I went to talk to educators. I went to talk to teachers. I talked to maybe 20 teachers, and what I wanted to hear from them, what do you do with technology in the classroom? And the most common question I heard from them, do you want to guess, Brett? What was the most common question I heard from them?
The technology, something about is it distracting the students?
Yeah. So here's the thing. The most common question I heard was, I hate computers in classroom. It was really amazing to hear how teachers realize how ineffective screens can be, how they're destructive, how it's become this game. You have this flying cows and you have noises and you have the things flying around on the screen. But when you check what kids actually learned, not so much. So that's how this idea came for using voice. When you get rid of the screen, you get rid of the distraction, you open completely new possibilities.
Obviously, you mentioned that, and I think we connected on this just with Dyknow and what we do, help teachers get control of the classroom to make sure that kids aren't off task in class. And part of it, we work on different projects, but the same holds true, is that teachers are competing for the attention of the students that they're trying to educate right now. So I was just curious just on the different use cases of teachers using this screen-free active learning. What have you heard from them so far?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Thanks for this. So we actually started with students with learning disabilities. When we're looking for teachers to participate in our pilot, first teachers we contacted were teachers who work with visually impaired students. And the response was amazing. Usually, you send emails and nobody writes you back. And here, suddenly, I sent maybe 10 emails, 8 people got back to me. We want to use it. And one of the responses, one is, because these kids, you don't have to convince them. These teachers, you don't have to convince them to use this technology because they have no technology to use. One of the things I asked from them, can you send me audio recordings? So I was sitting at home, I was getting these audio recordings, and I'm telling you, I had literally tears in my eyes. When you hear these kids, for the first time, they can use technology to learn math, and how they tell, we love that, literally, it was love. It was love from the first voice. I don't know how maybe right to say. Yeah, so it was amazing to hear. So we started to work with these kids. We're working right now about 20 schools for visually impaired kids, and we are getting more. And now we are getting our next stop is students who experience problems with reading and writing. So now we have several schools who started using our program, who work with students who have learning disabilities. And also we also work with students in regular schools. And our original idea was that teachers will use the program during station rotation, that the kids can work with Alexa in a small group, somewhere you put Alexa in there. And by the way, that's something many people don't realize, that Alexa, you don't actually need physical Alexa device. You can use it also on mobile device. If you have tablet or phone, you just download the Alexa app and you can use it on your phone, on any mobile device. So our original user case was a teacher that takes small groups of students, like 2, 3, and put them in a corner of the classroom. They do the lesson, and our lesson take about 10 minutes to complete. Maybe I should tell you a few words, the structure of our program. So you can, with thinking cap math, you can work in addition, skip counting, subtraction, and now we're adding multiplication and division. And every lesson consists of 10 minutes. Every lesson takes about 10 minutes to complete. So it's built up that you can use it during the station rotation. So it takes small groups of kids, put them in the corner, they work on the device, and then you bring in another group of kids. Yeah, did I answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think there's this shift of moving towards more personalized learning. It sounds like you have found an emerging trend that can meet the needs of some students in a different way, in an innovative way, using emerging technology, which I think is super fascinating and super cool, I guess.
Yeah, I just want to address this issue of personalized learning. That's a very interesting topic, because we talk so much about personalized learning, how we want to present the right question to students at the right time. But actually, I want to say that I think that's even more important question. We want to make sure that students learn from our question. And I'll give you an example. Here, voice technology can be especially powerful because it feels to students that he talks to a real person when he interacts with machine via conversation, via voice. So Alexa can say exactly things that the teacher would say in the situation. So I'll give you an example. For example, Alexa asks, how much is 6 plus 7? And student says 15. So in this case, Alexa can say, well, let's see. If 6 plus 6 is 12, how much is 6 plus 7? And this is a huge aha moment, because we just taught student strategy. We just taught him something new based on something he knew before. I find it extremely powerful.
I love that context. And so based on you being on the front lines with voice technology and K-12 education, how, from your perspective, how is the adoption going, and where potentially do you see this technology heading?
Yeah, look, that's a very good question. Many things changed with the pandemics. I think the adoption of the voice technology in the classrooms was up till pandemics very slow, because people were very concerned about privacy issues. And I also concerned them. By the way, I use Alexa. I develop for Alexa, and I have Alexa in home, but I don't connect it all the time. I only connect Alexa when I want to use it. So I also being careful. I think about this example, like we all like to drive the car. We have to drive the car often, and despite that it's dangerous, but we all stop at the traffic light because we follow the rules. Same thing with technology. I think, but now with the pandemic and our priorities completely changed, because first of all, we talk interaction via voice. We are talking here about touch-free technology. Touch-free is extremely important now. So we can take necessary precaution when we talk about privacy. So we can disable recordings on Alexa. Today, virtual assistants allow you control what happens with your privacy. You can disable your recordings, so make sure Alexa doesn't record your conversations, and they're not sent to Amazon after that for analysis or anything like this. You can take measures exactly like stopping in the traffic light. You could do right things, but the potential, the learning potential is huge in voice technology, especially now.
And obviously, with any time there's new technology on the horizon, there's going to be those early adopters and those teachers that I'm sure you talked with and got feedback
Right.
from. But then, there's going to be a majority, a group that's the detractors, and they're used to doing things that they're their own way. What do you think with this new emerging technology are the biggest hurdles to overcome, and how are you thinking about overcoming those hurdles to make sure more teachers are educated and know what's happening with screen-free active learning?
Yeah, look, it's hard to say. I think it will happen gradually. The more people today, I read statistics about adoption of the voice technology in the US. Like it's every time different numbers. 40% of the households today. Recently, I read this number. I don't know how correct it is, but it's definitely a huge number of adoption of this technology. And I think we also have to prepare our kids how to work with this technology, because it's all around us. It will be only more and more. And I think the more it will be in every house, maybe it's a good example to think about adoption of computers. Like I remember myself, like still in the university, when I was in the university, I don't think I had a PC. I don't think I had a laptop. And it was like having a laptop was a big deal. And today you go to the classroom, everyone has a laptop. So I think the more this technology will enter the everyday life, the more teachers will see the advantages of using this technology in the classroom. And by the way, huge advantage of this technology is low cost. This device costs between $30 and $50. We're not talking about thousands of dollars of computers. We're not talking about $1,000 of tablets or phones. It's just a few tens of dollars. So it's a huge thing.
That's awesome. And where obviously you spent a lot of time doing research on this problem and this technology. Where can teachers or anyone else, administrators who are listening, where can they go to learn more about voice technology in the classroom?
Yeah, there's a fascinating person, a wonderful person. Her name is Julie Daniel Davis. You can look for her on Twitter. She is very active. She's she's a teacher, and she's a real advocate of using voice technology in the classroom. So she writes a lot of it, and I really learn a lot from her, for reading her, and she really active in this, in writing a lot about privacy issues, what's the correct way to use voice technology in classroom. I would really recommend Googling Julie Daniels Davis and just read what she writes.
That's awesome. And then two, where can people go to find more information about what you're doing and reach out to you online?
Yeah, so our website is thinkingcapinnovations.com. And maybe can I add one more thing about one more voice project?
Please do.
Yeah, so we started with math, but once we saw this huge potential of using voice, of using this screenless technology in education, our obvious next step was teaching languages. And it came actually again from a personal curiosity, personal need. My kids are trilingual. I was born in Russia. I grew up in Israel. My wife is originally from Boston. We lived in the US. Now we're back in Israel. So our kids speak all three languages. So they're trilingual. And it's fascinating. It's always fascinating. It was a fascinating question for me, how kids learn these languages so easily. And I look at them, and I think I could spot three points, three things. First of all, when we talk to them, we never teach them grammar. And the second thing, we never correct them. We just repeat after them in a correct way. And the third thing, we just talk to them. We keep talking. And they hear first time they make mistake, second time they hear 10 times, after that they speak correctly. And talking to machine to learn language has huge potential. So half a year ago, we launched this project. We call it Thinking Cap Spanish. So our math project called Thinking Cap Math, this Spanish learning project called Thinking Cap Spanish. And I think it's amazing. I love it. All my kids learn Spanish with it. It actually came because when we lived in Boston, there's Spanish lessons in the school, and we came back to Israel, and there's no special Spanish here in school where they go to, and they were like, oh, we spent so much time teaching Spanish, what's happening? So I said, okay, here you go. So I'm working on this project, so you can continue with your Spanish. And it's amazing. Like we have this, so we created, again, I would call it interactive storytelling. We have a fairy tale and the kids interact with the fairy tales. There's a Red Riding Hood and Gingerbread Man and all these characters, and they speak Spanish to you, and then they say, okay, now repeat after me. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Now repeat after me. And it's amazing. It's amazing to see. Like I really recommend, if you're into Spanish, if you want your kids if you want to teach beginner Spanish, try it. Thinking Cap Spanish. And I want to hear what you think.
That's great. So math and Spanish, this is certainly something. So make sure, plug where people can find you just to make sure we got that and people can go visit and ask you questions.
Yeah, so www.thinkingcapinnovation.com. And you can send me direct email at michael@thinkingcapinnovation.com.
Awesome. This was a ton of fun. I learned a lot. Thank you for being up late with us and educating the audience on voice technology. This was certainly helpful.
It was great fun. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I always love speaking to entrepreneurs and people that are super passionate about what they do and help solve a problem that it exists. And it's undeniable that in talking with Misha, and he is super passionate about what he does and the problems that he is solving and the new innovation that he has for K-12 education. So go make sure you check out his website and follow his stuff. If you like what you heard, hit the subscribe button, leave us a review, follow us across all social channels. We do appreciate the engagement. That's certainly important. Make sure you take care of yourself and others around you, and we'll talk to you soon.